C Logic Podcast Show is back. I don't know what episode it is. I lost count a long time ago. Chris Foster, Foster Kid Films, Lynchpin Films. He's known as many names. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of your podcast. I like it.
Hey, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Now, where does it fall in the pecking order of your top podcast of all time?
Out of 100?
Yes.
Out of 100, probably like 98.
Hey,
I'd say.
We made it. We made it.
We broke 3 digits. I'll take it.
Yeah. 100 might be the best though. I'm not going to tell you if it is or not.
Oh,
Cody, we need to get a plaque. We need to get a plaque that says that.
It's gonna go like right. Okay, I don't know how to do this. Right there.
Perfect.
5-star approval rate number 98 from Lynchpin Films.
Is that a Traveling Techers shirt?
It sure
Yes, it is.
Dude,
Yeah.
Dude, I want.
Cody, tell them where they can get it.
Nowhere, they're exclusive. Sorry, I was quoting YouTube.
Oh, they can't. People can't buy them.
No.
Can people buy them?
So little background. Dang. All right, DJ. I'm sorry. I gotta say it. Shameless plug to our T-shirts. So we actually just got them right before COVID. One of our last actual vlogs we did was from Myrtle Beach, visiting a couple of our buddies from college. Hadn't seen them in a while. Well, we took those shirts with us, and I almost didn't wear it, but I was like, let's just kind of like sneak peek them. And so many people reached out to where we're like, let's not sell them for a long time or even give them out until someone really, really begs. So we have at least like 10 more. So hey, dude, if you want that first one, we'll send it down to Florida because we need.
I'll beg for the people, bro.
I need the clout master down there in Florida to rock it. So heck yeah, dude.
Dude, I would love to rock that.
What size
I need to send you some T-shirts too.
Oh please.
XXXL.
Oh, perfect.
He
I don't think we have that.
as a blanket. Yeah.
What
size do you have?
Will a children's small work?
You got a medium?
Medium, we have like, I think we have small, medium, large. I don't think we have XL left. Maybe we do. Small, medium, large, XL probably. So, yeah, dude. After the show, gotta
hit me with a medium.
Heck yeah, dude. Send me your address after the show. We'll send.
We'll trade. I'll send you some too.
Yes, please.
I'll send you some stickers, some shirts, some stuff like that.
Ah, yes.
We'll trade.
Yes, let's do it. All right, so we're getting into it. Chris Foster, he and I go way back. I still remember the first time we ever met. It was 7th grade. We were new kids on the block in a new school. I'll never forget, like, who is this dweeb? And he looked at me and was like, who are you, little dweeb? And the next thing you know, like, we just kind of clicked. I'll never forget what class. It was Miss Higgins' Bible class, I think, too. And
must have been.
Dude, I don't know what else it could have been because, God, it was so forever ago.
Because that's first period for sure.
Yeah. But I'll never forget just how quick we clicked despite being new kids. And over the course of the couple of years you were there, I mean, we just became best buds. Like, we just, I can think of all the guys, Zetkin and Kunle, Anru, everybody. And then as time digressed, it just grew. But you later changed schools. Super sad about that. But we still stayed in contact. And then since then, you've done a lot of amazing stuff and still doing amazing stuff. So give us a little background about yourself, Chris.
Well, I mean, dude, it seems like we were in school together for longer than 2 years, but it was only 7th and 8th grade.
Was it really?
But it was only 2 years because I left after 8th grade, thankfully.
I swear.
But didn't it seem like it was longer than that?
100%. For some reason, I thought you were still there, like at least in like freshman year, but you weren't.
No, immediately went to a public school, went to Matoka after that, and then I left there and went to a different school for 11th and 12th grade in New York. But yeah, and I actually didn't know that you were a new kid as well in 7th grade. You seemed like you were just like a part of things. You seemed like you knew everyone. You were like ready to go. But one of the like greatest memories that I have of middle school is how we had probably 20 people in our class, if that.
Yep.
So we only took up 2 tables in the lunchroom, and the 2 different tables were the loser table and the cool table.
Yeah.
And I remember like, and it wasn't we were definitely like self-proclaimed. We were like, no, this is the loser table. We are the kings of the loser table.
Yes.
but like I love that like dynamic, and then we would start recruiting people from the cool table over to the loser table. We'd be like, it's way cool over here. Come over here.
I kind of felt I kind of felt like a frat bro. Like, hey, come go in. We got the best Greek house, except it's the best lunch table.
Yes.
Trade snacks. Hey, I'll sell you that brownie,
For
that
sure.
cosmic brownie for 50 cents. Nah, $1. Like, I'll never forget any of that.
For sure. So those are some good times. Those are some good times for sure.
Sounds like you guys were running some underground evil drug empire.
Dude, I was selling energy drinks out of my lunchbox, bro. I was.
Dude, he
I was all
scammed
out.
me at least like 8 times with those excess energy drinks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hey, but they they slap. They're pretty decent. But dude, the loser.
He got a lot of
table,
B12, bro. B12.
Maybe that's why I didn't get COVID. You know, all that B12 just let me not jinx myself. But maybe it paid off back in 7th grade. But
Dude, it's gotta be it.
Great memory.
Whenever you talk about how small your classes were, it always makes me feel like you're talking about like Hogwarts, like Harry Potter. Because it's such like for somebody who like went to public school, it's such a weird idea to only have like 20 kids in a class, and like how close everyone must be at that small of a class size.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure.
Honestly, it's kind of weird. You definitely could have made a reality TV show out of our grade alone, let alone our school. We were like, when I think about it, you could make an Office or Parks and Rec like show about our class, because like Chris said, we had a loser table and the cool table, but we even had some that were kind of like floating in the middle. And then all of our teachers, I think like Miss Bryan, Miss Smith, we all had like characters. Miss Lavin, we had characters of teachers. Like I'll never forget certain expressions, or that one time we were before school started, Miss Lavin came down yelling at us for being too loud, and next thing you know, 8 of us start serenading her with "Baby" by Justin Bieber, and she busts up. It's like weird memories like that I feel like you couldn't have done at public school, because everyone would have made fun of you, like, oh, those losers are singing J-Beebs. Like, we didn't care. We did what we wanted, kind of thing, you know. So that,
what made you guys the losers at the loser table?
You know, I don't even know. And honestly, I think that it was just because like we deemed them. It was really like we deemed them the cool table. And the cool table, I think even Cody was there at first, and then eventually migrated to us.
it was like
the cool table.
Yeah. It was like the jocks.
It consisted of the athletes, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like the jocks, and then I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like friends with all you guys anyways, and then I'm like, you guys are kind of deadbeats. See ya, nerds, here I come, and then I just like popped the fence and came on over.
Yeah, for
More
sure.
fun anyhow.
And even still, like those guys who were sat at like the cool table, dude, they're still like so cool. They're still like the jocks. They're still like super athletes. I'm still like, yeah, I still belong at the loser table. They definitely still belong at the cool table.
I think I changed my my first tattoo idea. It's gonna be a loser table, like across my chest. Like loser table never dies.
Yes.
Perfect.
We need matching loser table tattoos.
Oh, goals. Let's do it. As soon as COVID's done, when I trust those needles again, we'll do it.
I'm in.
But DJ,
I'll go with you.
You don't. Let's change it up a little bit. DJ, you don't know Chris very much, other than what I've told you.
No, Chris is my nickname for Chris is Cody's friend in the film industry.
Or director, buddy.
Yeah,
one of the two.
Yeah. I hear the director buddy reference. I want to be everyone's director buddy reference from now on.
All the time. Cody, no matter how many times Cody has brought you up, which has been at least 200 times, at least. Like that's like lowballing it. Every single time he'll go, yeah. So like, you know, Chris, you know, my director buddy. I'm like, yeah, Cody, I know who Chris is. Like,
it's just a habit, because like so many people ask me, because like, hey, who's that friend of yours that you said like does movies and stuff? I'm like, oh, Chris, the director buddy. And they're like, oh yeah, that guy. Like if I say like Chris Foster or like something else, it doesn't click as well, but that Chris, the director buddy, it's like perfect. I'm sorry, DJ.
I want to be everyone's director buddy. Like, just call me that, and I'm good to go. But I mean,
you change your Instagram name to Chris, the director buddy.
I've changed it so many times. Like, no one can even keep up anymore. But yeah, I mean, dude, Cody is always talking so nice about. He's talking me up so much that there's no way I can't be a disappointment to, like everyone that he introduces me to. But yeah, I mean, you know, Cody's incredibly kind to all of his friends. That's for sure.
I definitely do my best. It means a ton to me, especially from you. Because seriously, I mean, I've meant it every single time. Like the day, and when I say Chris the director buddy, and I brag about you, I legit think about when your video dropped on YouTube, and it hits me right in the heart, dude. When you dropped that video calling out what's her face, what was it, like Kayla or whatever? Because like the 2 years why I haven't tweeted. See, I remember everything because that video hit me in my heart. Like that was wild. And DJ, I feel like I've showed you the video or at least told you about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of the most insane memories I have because I was like, oh, Chris, what's this? Oh, wait, you haven't tweeted in a while. And for those listening that don't know, basically, Chris was called out by a individual that he went to school with on Twitter because he commented on her tweet because she stated Transformers 4 was like the best movie ever. You kindly disagreed. She blew up, cussed you out, and said, contact me when you make your own movie. 2 years to the date from that tweet, Chris was like, hey, by the way, girl, made a movie. Here's 2 tickets. Premieres in Orlando. See you there. Like that is the biggest BDE moment I have ever seen in my entire life, especially from one of my very best of friends from the loser table. Like, and you made a movie with $2,000. Like, who else can say that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, and the video is, I kind of made it seem like, oh, this girl called me out, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go make a movie, and I went and did it. In reality, like, you know, I've always really wanted to make movies since I was probably 14, maybe earlier. So, but you know, it made a better video if it's just like, okay, I'll go see what I can do. But, yeah, I mean, I had been making, you know, stupid videos with my friends in elementary school and middle school, and it kind of eventually, you know, people just like them, like stupid videos that I post on Facebook of me getting shot with like an airsoft gun, or like, you know, sword fighting with Zach Ginn, or like, you know, just
the paint war and stuff like that.
Yeah, just goofing around, and then it ended up getting more serious as I started trying to make, you know, more narrative type short films where I told a story. And it got more and more serious after that. I would, you know, some short films I made would like win a contest or a festival or something, and most of them didn't. But it got more and more serious until the point where I got to, you know, I was nearing the end of high school and I needed to decide what I was going to do. And at first I was going to go to Full Sail University in Florida, to get a bachelor's degree in film production or whatever it is. And, you know, I found out that by the end of it, you don't even come out with a full feature film that you made. You come out, you know, with a credit on someone else's movie. The class kind of creates a movie altogether. So, I mean, you could be pulling cables on someone else's movie. You could be running sound. All those are great positions, but not if you want to write and direct. It doesn't really help you that much. You kind of just come out with a bunch of debt and a piece of paper. So, yeah, I just needed to figure out if I could make a feature film. Like I had no idea if I could do it. I had made all these short films and, you know, I'd done all this stuff, but like, I didn't know if I could make a feature film. And who am I to say that I want to be a film director if I don't even know if I can do it? Like, I don't know if I can make something that's interesting for 90 minutes.
What is that? Is that the main difference between like a short film and a featured film? Is the time that it takes the time of the movie?
Yeah, the only difference is that a feature film needs to be, I think, 60 minutes is the minimum length for a feature film. Typically, it's 90 to 120 minutes for a feature film. But I just needed to first of all know if I can do it, and then second of all learn how to do it. And if I wasn't going to go to film school to learn how to do it, then I needed to go do it myself. So I saved up, you know, some money over the summer, shot some weddings and mowed some lawns and did whatever I could to make some money, and, you know, came out with $2,000, went down and to this house actually, and shot the movie, and all the money just went to feeding the cast and crew.
But you're in the house?
I'm in the tethered house right now.
I am
Yes.
so honored.
You're inside of it too right now, technically.
Because we're having a house party. All right, Cheesy, I'm sorry.
That's right. Welcome to my house party.
But yeah, dude.
What?
Go ahead, DJ. Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask what was the biggest difference between going from short film to feature film? Like, what's the biggest kind of learning curve that you had to hit going from one to the other?
Man, so much, because when I was making short films, I was just working with like my friends, and like my brother would help me sometimes. Like just whoever I knew, I'd be making films with. I never worked with any real actors. I never worked with anyone who even really wanted to act. I just kind of like convinced my friends to like be in this thing. So I had to learn how to work with like good actors, and people who are passionate about acting and storytelling, and I got to collaborate with them. I mean, shooting that movie is one of the best experiences of my whole life. I mean, it was incredible. And I think a lot of the cast and crew sort of felt that, and I think that they brought their passion as well with it, because we're all doing it for free. We're all doing it for nothing. Some people are driving 2.5 hours from Orlando to come and shoot like every weekend for 3, 4, 5 months. And that's the other thing that I learned, is like just how long it takes. Like it takes time. To get 90 minutes of usable footage takes a lot of time. Not only in writing it, which took probably a year and a half, but actually shooting it just takes a long time. And I think that towards the end of it, I started sort of prolonging the shoot days, as I kind of didn't want it to end. And I remember Nathan came to me one day. He was the lead in the movie. He was driving from Orlando every day, and he was just like, "Dude, I'm driving from Orlando like every weekend, 3 hours. Like make sure that all the time that I'm here is 100% getting some good stuff." And I was like, yeah, I know. Sorry. So I sort of started trying to speed it up more after that. But yeah, man, it's a big undertaking to take on a feature film. But at the same time, like I remember while we were shooting it, I was like, I was telling everyone, like, man, everyone should make a feature film. Like everyone should get their friends together and just like make a movie together. It's so rewarding in so many ways, and it really like bonds you. Like every single person I worked on that movie with, I consider some of my best friends. So
God, that's awesome. Now, how many people of the cast do you still chat with? I know last time you were up here and we were all hanging and stuff. You said there was one of the guys that got like some more roles or something, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Everyone sort of went their separate ways. And we all kind of talk about trying to get something going again, and make something together again. But like it's tough. Like the stars really aligned with that first movie for sure. I know Nathan is in New York right now, and people are just all over the place. Dimitri and Bob, who produced the movie, they're in Atlanta. So people are all over the place, just in different facets of the entertainment industry for the most part. But yeah, if the stars align, maybe we'll get something going again.
That's awesome.
Now, for people who are listening and they're just like, I've never heard of Tethered before, like what would be like a short synopsis of the movie? How would you describe it?
Yeah, it's a movie about a guy on house arrest, and he's sort of caught up in this weird criminal activity, which is what puts him on house arrest. And the crew that he was doing this stuff with is still a part of his life. And we kind of see how it still affects his life and how it kind of gets him in trouble. And then he kind of has to work his way out of trouble. But he's stuck in his house the entire time. And that's sort of the key, is like he's restricted. He can't leave. It's sort of in the same vein as Disturbia, or Rear Window, or Rope, or some movies like that, where they're just stuck in the same place and they can't leave, and that plays a big part in the movie.
Where could somebody watch it at? Is it anywhere? Is it on Netflix or anything?
So right now, that movie and also my third movie, Deprivation, which I think Cody has seen a screener of.
We actually
both of those movies are. No, did you? Both of you guys did?
When you
Nice.
sent it, when you sent, I know that was probably like 3 years ago, whatever it was. But yeah, when you emailed it to me and asked him if I'd watch it, he was. We were roommates in college, so we were like, heck yeah. And I think you were like pretty busy. I was like, hey, is it cool if you watched it? And we filled out those little documents and everything. And yeah, dude. So
yeah, I remember that. I was like, okay, dude, like I'll watch his homemade video. Sure. And then, like, because, like, I mean, Cody won't be the first one to admit that sometimes he can talk things up a little too high.
For sure.
So, like, just him knowing somebody in the movie industry and he makes movies and all that. He's like, hey, man, he sent me this movie. Let's, like, do you want to watch it with me? Like, we can take notes or whatever, like, talk about what we think about it. And I was like, yeah, sure. And, like, within 10 minutes, I was like, this is pretty gripping. This is kind of cool. This is different this is not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it literally is a home movie. I mean, pretty much it is a home movie in every way.
It's kind of like a found footage movie.
Yeah, it's kind of documentary style. And we shot that one for super cheap as well. We shot that one in less than a week. Both of those movies are in distribution hell right now. Like, I sold them to a company and they made some weird deals and it was kind of all over the place. And I just recently got them back, so I'm now going to replace them. Yeah, hopefully they'll be available soon. But that's what happens with these small movies. It's just hard to get them in the right place for them to be seen. So yeah, maybe I'll release it myself. Maybe I'll work on a new deal with a new company. I'm not sure yet, but hopefully they'll get re-released soon.
Heck yeah, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I still am trying to like get the guys motivated to finish Land of the Free. I have all the footage. I mean, you were there that one day or a couple days when we were putting all that stuff together, and I might just take it upon myself and just start like finishing the edit or like teaming up with you or something. I know Henry and Spencer are crazy busy. Henry's over in Cali and COVID came, and Spencer's kind of doing his thing too. But I really want to get that finished because and I'm gonna go back to it. But you said how powerful it was to you just to make a feature film with your friends. I mean, you knew every day when we called you on the phone or we were like, hey man, just made it to Texas safely, or hey dude, we just got like late night pasta, macaroni, and chicken from this lady in OKC for free at like 11 p.m. Like, every moment of that trip was so weird. Like, we camped in freezing cold Colorado just to like stay in our budget. Like, it was, like you said, it's more about the experience than the actual film itself. And I know I saw that with you and Tethered, because your YouTube channel, you were like doing like, was it every other week or something like that, like vlogs or at least like compilation of like background filming, and I loved that. I mean, it was just, you could see the chemistry, and you weren't no Spielberg or Tarantino with, Brad Pitt and this and that. I mean, it was just Chris Foster and his friends, but the connection was the same. And I loved seeing that. And I feel like that's almost another reason why I was able to put you on like Cloud 9 times 2, because like I knew how much it meant to you. And I mean, yeah, we've been friends forever, but like it was just the combination of the two. So I still want to do a movie, you and I, and we got to have DJ and Shane and everybody. I'm going to do it. And I don't know. I was kind of talking to my parents earlier. This might be a little drop, but DJ knows a lot about it, how things are stressful right now. And I've already just kind of considered like maybe different ideas moving forward in the next couple of years or something like that. So it's in the back of my mind. So whenever I do decide to change my career, if you will, I'm either going to take time off or maybe something that allows to maybe join your team, or we can make something, because that's something I want to do, dude. I want to make a movie with you. Like, it's Deprivation showed me, and you just said it, you can do it in a week. You can make a freaking movie in a week. And like maybe that's what I'll do. Shoot, maybe I don't even have to wait till my next career. Maybe I'll just maybe me and DJ can take a week off and we can come down to Florida and make a movie, this December. I don't know, something. I'm so down. Let's screw on a far and wide place for shopping techers. Let's just come, with Lynchpin Films and make a movie. Let's do it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, for sure. I'm looking at a couple different projects right now that go back to sort of that like just run and gun it and try and shoot something cool. I have a couple of documentary projects that I'm looking at. Also one in Virginia that I can talk to you about. But yeah, man, I mean, we can absolutely make something, especially, well, I guess maybe not for you, but like during this time when everything is just so crazy, like a lot of people have a little bit extra time on their hands. So yeah, dude, of course we'll make something. And we do need to get that movie finished. It's tough, man. It's tough to get a movie finished. It's a lot.
It is. And the biggest challenge has been, I mean, I know like DJ and my family and some of our other best friends, like they know like we all work our own respective jobs, and Spencer's traveling with his work, and Shane and Henry were school, and everything accounted for. But it is kind of disheartening because like I can't devote the time. But that's why I almost want to take like a month off just to finish it. Because, I mean, dude, I feel like it can definitely be something like great. You just got to put the time to it. So we definitely got to like do something like we'll take like a week or two off and we'll just like edit together and finish it. That's honestly what we need to do.
And DJ, what are you doing right now? What are you up to? Are you in work? Are you in school? What are you up to?
Yeah, no, I'm still working. I build homes, and we've powered right through COVID. It slow us down a little bit. We're speeding up pretty big time. So, pretty much for me, it's been, business as usual. Not a whole lot's changed. Biggest thing that changed in my life was that the gym closed. So I had 2 extra hours every single day, which was weird. And now that's back. So pretty much my life is back to complete normalcy, except for not being able to go to the bar on the weekend with my buddies. Yet.
Good. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Oh, and also I'm part of Traveling Techers. And
I saw that.
We do podcasts sometimes, and we also make videos on traveling.
And I'm going to beg until people can buy those. So
Deal.
That's my extracurriculars.
Yes.
Deal. No, dude, seriously, as soon as this podcast is over, I'm snagging that address and I'm going to send it. But, hey, wait. Speaking of Traveling Techers in the video, just finished the Pixar 3-part series of the top Pixar movie of all time. No.
I heard you had
series.
So, before we get into it, DJ, this is for Bree. No, Bree, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to this overabundance, this shameless plug, but this is serious because Chris has something to defend right now. So, we got some, 40-plus responses of everyone ranking the 22nd to 1st Pixar films. It was phenomenal. Those that have watched like yourself, Chris,
it's a lot of work.
It is. And those that watch like yourself, Chris, like you saw the dedication, and yes, I watched all 22 films. Now, thanks to COVID, I was able to, but as passionate about film as I am, it was easy to do, and it was great. But moral of the story is you picked a very interesting number 1. No one else had it. It was in maybe a few top 5s, but no one else had it as number 1, and that is WALL-E. Now, I before I just start roasting you or anything, I gotta hear your explanation on it, because I know it might be your like just the creative mind or something, maybe a attachment from your childhood. But let's hear what you got.
So you picked Bug's Life, and you're telling me about WALL-E?
I asked you first. Hey, I'll defend Bug's Life for you. I asked you first.
So first of all, I think all your picks, should at least be in the top 5. Like Incredibles, I think is one of the best superhero movies of all time. Ratatouille, one of the greatest Pixar movies, one of the best movies of all time. Maybe a perfect movie. One of the few perfect movies.
Ratatouille.
And A Bug's Life, yeah, Ratatouille, and then A Bug's Life. Like I can't even tell you how many times I've watched Bug's Life, right? I had the VHS too. I watched it, I had to watch it every day at one point. But none of them are as good as WALL-E. And I'm surprised that all 40 of those people are wrong in not putting WALL-E at number 1. To refresh your memory, it came out in 2008, so it came out a while ago. Maybe you haven't seen it in a while. But it's about this robot who is left behind on Earth, and humans have basically abandoned Earth, and because of pollution, there's just so much trash that they had to leave Earth, and the plan was to come back at some point when this corporation would clean up Earth, and then they would come back. And WALL-E is left behind as one of the robots who's supposed to clean up Earth. And he's left alone on Earth for 700 years, just by himself, like cleaning up trash every day. He gets his little lunch pail, he straps it on his back, and he goes around and just cleans up trash. That's really the only thing that he can do. And the way that they just show his like loneliness at the beginning is incredible. Andrew Stanton did a great job writing and directing that movie. He also did A Bug's Life and Finding Nemo. So I mean, he kills. He also did John Carter, one of the biggest flops of all time. We won't talk about that.
Deal.
But I mean, I think it really reminded me of the movie Her. I don't know if you've seen that with Joaquin Phoenix. Of just like this feeling of like really melancholy loneliness. And he's been this way for hundreds of years. Until one day, an extraordinarily upgraded robot appears on Earth, and Wally falls in love with Eve at this point, and she's been sent down to Earth to find life, to find a plant or something that would show that life is now habitable. And she does find that thing, and as soon as she finds it, her protocol is to go back up to the ship and deliver that. And Wally, being left alone for hundreds of years, finally, this robot Eve comes down and he falls in love with her, and he's willing to strap on to her spaceship and blast off into space just to be with her, just to not be alone, because he loves her that much. He's willing to go into space, and not only that, but the scene of him flying through space, and I think they're going through like maybe Saturn's rings. I don't know. I didn't go to college or anything, but he's going through Saturn's rings, and he like reaches up, and there's that like beautiful dust. It's like it's one of the most beautiful space movies of all time, maybe the most beautiful. And the movie goes off from there, eventually leading him to pave the path to save mankind. And all of that being said, our main characters can't even talk. There's no dialogue in this movie. They show all these emotions. They show all the story without a word of dialogue other than their names and directive, I think they say. There's like 3 words that our main characters say. It's a movie about love. It's a movie about doing whatever it takes to get what you want. And I think that it's the best Pixar movie.
All right, now make that exact same passionate, argument about The Incredibles, because I need somebody else to reaffirm my own beliefs.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. That was amazing.
That was.
So, like, when you were talking, like, first off, was it 700 years, or was that just a number that you threw out?
No, it was.
I think it was 700 years.
That's insane, because, like, it has been a while since I've seen it. But, like, you would imagine, well, first off, you'd imagine there'd be way more, like, trinkets and stuff, like, in his little home if he's been doing this for 700 years. Like, we see him come back with, like, 5 things on the first day.
Mm-hmm.
But all that aside,
What's great is that he comes back with very specific items, right? Yeah. He comes back with a Rubik's Cube. He comes back with a Twinkie. Spoons. A Twinkie is one of the things that we've always said can last throughout the apocalypse. Another thing that he has is a little cockroach, which is more of like a pet to him. And, those are said to be able to last beyond apocalypse. And, I mean, not only that, but, like, this movie doesn't even have an antagonist. Like, there's no bad guy. The only bad guy of this movie is society and what these robots who basically have to find them when they finally get to the ship. These robots are programmed to go and find them. So there's really not an antagonist other than robots who are programmed to do what they want to do. So it's these characters who can't even talk against an institution is really what it is. It's
even more like you're talking like melancholy and like sad and loneliness. It's even more of that when you make the realization that Wall-E is a robot that has feelings. Like, it's not just like a brainless robot. Like, it has feelings. Whether or not, like, I don't know if they talk about, like, is he, like, the only robot that has feelings out of that first bout of, like, robots, or, like, do they all have feelings, or whatever it is. But he's been alone for 700 years by himself with feelings.
Yeah, I mean, and the only way that those feelings are shown, the only reason that you know that he has feelings is all in the animation. It's how he acts. It's in his action. It's what he does. It's not him saying, I have feelings. It's not him saying anything that would make you think that he does. It's literally just him watching that movie and him holding his hands together, because that's all he wants. He just wants to hold hands. That's all he wants. That's how he shows that he loves her. That's the only way that he shows it.
Now you make me feel bad about my picks.
Bugs Life is great. Bugs Life, I definitely have that nostalgia feeling to Bugs Life. And it's a great movie about, the lessers kind of standing up to who's controlling them.
It's about the loser table bugs, basically.
Yeah, that's right. It's about the losers standing up for the cool kids, for sure. And I mean, when I sent you my list, immediately I was like, I would change that. I would change this. I would put this here. So
everybody said that.
Literally, as we were doing the first video, he was like, "How is that there?" And I was like, "I didn't even know that was there."
Yeah,
like I thought for sure that was. I thought for sure that was higher on my list. I did not know I put that at like 19 or whatever.
Yeah,
I couldn't even like explain why I put it where it was. It just happened to land there based on other movies, but they can literally shift 1 or 2 spots based on the day.
Yeah,
I think
I'd change a million things.
100%. And
except for The Incredibles, that's number 1. Now, it's because like I know we talked about it. Like Bugs Life and The Incredibles is like a gut feeling. That's number 1. You can't really argue it. Like we just know that's number 1 for both of us. Like is Wall-E the same way for you? Like gut feeling. You don't really have to think about it a whole lot. It's just your number 1.
I definitely had to think about it because, looking at Pixar has put out so many great movies. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not the one who's like, this is the best movie because it looks the nicest. The animation is the nicest. Or, anything like that. It's very strictly about story.
Before we, like, started the video, like, we both looked at each other and we were like, okay, when we're going through our list, we specifically can't say we like this movie because of the animation, because they all look beautiful. Like, that can't be a reason why one movie is above another one. Like, if you're at a tie, if you're at a tie and you're like, I don't know which one, it was like you're trying to make an argument for it either or, it's like, well, they animated the water better in this one. Like, I don't know, something.
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked out for Cody's pick either, so.
Yeah.
No, those raindrops are so poorly done. It's probably the worst animation of that whole movie.
You're like, animation doesn't count. Don't bring up animation.
Right? 1998 was a tough year, all right? So where does...
dude, not only that, but the little short film that they show before that, excellent. Where the guy's playing chess by himself, excellent.
100%. So where does Wall-E fall in your top 10 of all time? Like, of all your favorite movies?
Wall-E's number 1. Oh, everything?
Everything.
I don't know.
98?
Yeah, right, 98. If you guys are tied with Wall-E, that's pretty good. I don't know. It's like when people ask me what my favorite movie is, like it changes, daily. Like it's different every single day.
I don't have a favorite movie. That's as you always sit back in the day as a creative, I think it's kind of impossible too, because you're always gonna like look at one and like you can always look at a certain film differently every day.
I couldn't agree more, man. But for me, it's Night at the Museum, like number 1. Easy.
Night at the Museum, really?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay. I
have no idea why. That was the first movie that came into my head.
I was about
as
to
long
say,
as it's not Transformers 4, it doesn't matter.
I was about to say, DJ, I've known you for what 6, 7, 8 years, and I
don't think I've ever said that.
Never even talked about that movie.
Never.
So, Chris,
when people ask me what my favorite movie is, I just tell them whatever movie I think of. Whatever great movie I think of.
Saving Private Ryan, Gone with the Wind, I don't know. Something.
Yeah,
The Godfather.
Absolutely. There's so many.
So, Chris, I want to get your input on this, but I had a coworker recently reach out to me and was like, hey, man, love the Pixar stuff. What's next? So he gave a suggestion, and then I had another old friend from an old job give a suggestion. I wanted to see what your opinion is, just what you would like to see, or if you want to maybe put more of your input into it. But the 2 requests that we have to do next are do all of the Quentin Tarantino films from, what is there, 9? 8? 9?
There's 9.
Yeah, less
9?
than 10.
Yeah, so either
10. He's capping out at 10. I think the last one was 9.
So one of the requests was to do all the Quentin Tarantinos from 9 to 1, which sounds easier. And then I don't know if you kind of picked up from our show.
That'd be a tough watch.
It would. It definitely would. But I think
those movies are heavy.
They are. But I mean, I know you and I have talked so much about them, DJ specifically, and I know Chris and I have had to at least talk about one back in the day. But the other suggestion, which I could see being harder, but they actually gave this idea because of like our channel. For instance, like DJ shirt. Like we are kind of going for like this retro like 80s vibe because like I don't know, like it's just as I've explained, it's unknown to us and it's unique. So that's like what it comes to our traveling. We attract to what is unknown because like I love that adrenaline rush of trying to figure out or see or get to that or whatever. So that being said, we were requested to do our top 10 favorite 80s films of all time. Now there is a ton of great 80s films, a ton. Like I even thought of like 15, and then I googled like top 80s films, and there was like 50. I'm like, oh crap, I forgot about that one. That one's 81 or 89. Just make it in there. What would you like to see more?
I think that's a good pick. I mean, it doesn't matter how big a category is because you can just give everyone choices, right? So like, if you wanted to be top 20, you can give them 20 choices. You want to be top 10, you give them 10 choices, and then they just have to pick from those. Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think it doesn't even matter what category it is. I think that it comes down to like how you feel about that specific movie or that specific category. Like if there's a category of movies that you're specifically passionate about, like go for that because you can give good arguments on it. I think what would be cool too is if you did like maybe a bonus thing at the end of the episode, or like this is a separate thing, but if you guys took two movies or two, let's say like, let's say DJ takes like Sylvester Stallone action movies and you take Arnold movies, right? And then you argue which is better, or something like that. I think that would be cool because it would split your audience, and I think it'd be more, it'd be interactive.
It's really hard to split our audience, man, because like one person is our audience, so like you can't really split that one person in half. Like
I'm the one person. I'm the one. I have 20 different accounts, and I like all your videos from each account.
No, it's funny you say that because I don't know if you saw our Joker review. What we thought about trying that for our next movie review, because that's something that unfortunately we haven't been able to do in a while. Hopefully we get another one in soon. But we want to do those like way more often, but make it to where like there's the four of us on the panel, or if like say you want to hop on one, it's basically like you said, split the side. Someone has to argue why like that the movie was really good or really bad, or maybe like what we did at the end of that episode was who's the best Joker. Maybe do something like that, and then someone has to pick a Joker and argue for them, even if you don't like them. But just kind of build more of that conflict barrier, if you will, between your.
It's like a debate.
Candidates. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I mean you could even just issue a question and say like, what's the worst sequel? And then maybe you both don't even know like what movie you're going to pick coming into it, or maybe you do. Maybe you should be more prepared. But you each just pick a movie from that question, and then you argue your movie. I think that would be cool.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Have you seen Screen Junkies movie fights?
Yes, I think I've seen one or two when like a specific person.
Yeah, I watched those like religiously, like freshman, sophomore year of college. Like those were, I loved those things. And those along with a bunch of other stuff is kind of like the inspiration to like this whole idea that we're kind of going down of like having some kind of a debate between movies or topics or whatever. But like literally what you said is exactly what they did. Like,
yeah, same concept, right? For sure.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Do they still make them?
I think they do, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
I really haven't kept up with them in a long time.
I haven't heard you say Screen Junkies in a while. That's been a long time.
I still subscribe to them for their Honest Trailer. But
yeah, their Honest Trailer series is great.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah.
So Chris, switching direction again. How long are you gonna be in Florida still? Do you have like a certain timeline? Are you gonna holding out a little bit longer in terms of like jumping back on like busting out the films and the writing and stuff, or got any projects lined up? What's coming in the future for you?
Yeah, so I have a movie lined up at the end of July, and I mean that could get pushed back more. Who knows, depending on how all this stuff turns out. I mean, LA is still on lockdown until early July, I think. So pretty much pretty much everything is still shut down in the movie industry until further notice. So kind of just playing it by ear. I want to shoot some stuff before then. So I'm working on a script right now. I almost have it finished. I'm gonna have that finished by early next week. And I think I could shoot that during quarantine as well. So I've got that, and then I've got a couple other documentary projects I was talking about earlier that I'd like to shoot. So kind of playing it by ear, just trying to stay busy and see what I can make and release out there
For sure.
with the world.
For sure. Are those documentary ideas we can talk about those after the podcast, I assume? Maybe?
Yeah, for sure. We can talk about that.
Okay, cool. Kind of one of the reasons I alluded to this whole question is because I was wondering if you're going to be in Florida in August, because DJ and I are planning to come down to visit our buddy Tristan that works at Disney. But maybe I could come down earlier, or we could come down a day earlier, or we can make time to come see you, hang out for a day, shoot some vlog footage, do a funny podcast, something, a venture, something.
For sure. For sure.
Do you think you might be there in August? Oh, I think it was the week of like the 11th or 12th to like the 16th or 17th, something like that, like middle of the month.
If I'm not shooting, I think I'll be here. So it depends on how that movie goes that I have scheduled for end of July, because that's in Hawaii. So that's kind of, I think it's like a 3-week shoot too. So I don't know. It could be, I might not be, but yeah, but for sure, dude, you should absolutely come down here.
Awesome.
If I'm here.
Awesome. That's something I need to get better at once COVID's like gone, is making my rounds down to different places. So wait, Hawaii?
Dude, same. Yeah. It's the Hawaii shoot for a Hallmark movie.
Ooh.
That I'm producing.
Heck yeah, dude.
Well, I mean, Bree would be very upset with me if I didn't ask some questions about that. What can you talk about that? Is it like top secret or?
Yeah, I can't talk too much about it.
Can you talk about like what your role in it is? Are you like?
Yeah, so I'm a producer in it, and when it comes to movies, like a producer can mean a million different things. A producer could do nothing, and a producer could do a ton of stuff. But my job is really on the creative side. It's working on, I was heavily involved in the creative direction of the pitch deck. And a pitch deck is basically a document that you use to approach investors or studios, basically talking about the movie in a single document. And you kind of make it's really just it's really just a document to sell the movie. So I was heavily involved with that, and I'm involved with the casting and all the stuff sort of on the creative side. So I'll be there, shooting it. And doing whatever needs to be done on set. Just, really what a producer does is make sure that the movie gets made with as least issues as possible. It's just a problem-solving gig, really.
How long has this been in the works?
A little while. It's taken on a couple different forms. But this particular version of the movie it's really just been this year, end of last year, this year is really when we've been working on it. And right when we were about to go out to shoot is when the country kind of shut down. So we've been just on hold.
Yeah, I feel like maybe, when was it? I feel like you might have told me this before, that you're supposed to go out to Hawaii, and it was around that time. That's crazy. So
yeah.
So has that like really messed up the plans for this, other than just the date or time that y'all are filming it, or does it mess anything else up?
It could have messed everything up, but thankfully, like, our investors and our distributors are totally on board, and are being totally understanding of everything that's going on. But yeah, it really just delays everything. It pushes everything back. We had other stuff lined up after that, so it pushes that back. So it just affects the timeline of everything for the most part. And when movies start shooting again, there's all these different, these new guidelines that you have to adhere to, which costs money, it costs people, it costs time. So there's a lot of guidelines that you have to follow really strictly and make sure that you're following really closely with all this new crazy stuff that's happening.
Now, it's like an official Hallmark movie, or is that just kind of like
It's a Hallmark type movie. It could go to
okay.
Hallmark. It could go somewhere else. But it's very much like the Hallmark formula movie.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
Rom-com,
Rom-com,
formulaic.
cheesy jokes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Everything
careful, Cody. Don't give away too much of the movie.
Sorry.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
That's awesome. Is this your your career so far as a movie maker, someone who's in the industry and all that? Like, you started off making short films with your brother, your friends, and all that. And then when would you say you kind of took the next step in like a serious way? Was it Tethered, or were there steps before that you would consider serious?
Yeah, I think Tethered was definitely the big first step. I mean, it was literally like deciding not to go to film school and making a movie. I think that was definitely the biggest step. And after that, I sort of realized that, like, oh, I can do this. Tethered was never meant to be an Oscar-winning movie. It's very much like I'm using this as my film school. Everything that I would have gotten in film school, other than the degree, is what I want. So, I mean, and it succeeded in that way. And I used it as a calling card. I used my next movie as a calling card to kind of be like, hey, look, I'm serious about this. And I know how to make a movie from beginning to end, from writing it to marketing it. And I think that's sort of, what kind of took me to the next step is just learning every aspect of the process. And once you know every aspect of the process, you become valuable to a wider spread of people. If someone needs a specific component to their movie that they don't have, and you know how to do every single thing, you can work with everyone who's making a movie pretty much. So once you create some value for yourself, I think then you can start taking the next step and showing people that you have that value, and they'll take you more seriously and bring you on to bigger projects.
Now, that's like an extremely wise, well thought out like angle to go at it with. Was that something that you had already like formulated that whole idea before you made the decision to not go to film school, or was that something that you just kind of developed like as you're making the movie? You're going, okay, I'm creating value in my knowledge of how I'm doing this as you were doing it, or was that kind of the plan of doing it to begin with?
So the first thing that sort of made me realize that I don't need to go to college is I read a book by Robert Rodriguez. He's a great filmer. He made the Spy Kids movies. He made like Desperado. He made a bunch of movies, but his first movie he made for $7,000. And he would literally go to clinics where they test medicines on you and test like different chemicals, and they would pay him to be like a lab rat basically. And he used that money to make a movie. And at the end of his book, he has this thing called like 10-minute film school, and it's basically him walking through, showing you like, okay, you need a camera, you need actors, you need a computer to edit. It's like this very like basic stuff. He's showing you exactly how to make a movie. And I read that and I was like, I mean, he didn't say anything about film school. He didn't say, like, literally all he said is what you need to make a movie. And I read that and I was like, oh, I guess I'm not going to film school then. So I think that, honestly, like while I was doing it, it was total blind faith. Like while I was making Tether, I was like, dude, this is going to be the greatest movie of all time. Are you kidding me? Like, I'm going all out. Like anything that I need to do to get this movie made, I mean, this is going to be the biggest movie that's ever been made. So, I mean, when you have that blind faith going into it, it really helps you get over those hurdles of self-doubt and all those thoughts of like, what if this fails? Like, this sucks. Like, what am I, you still have all those thoughts, but when you come at it with this idea of like, I'm going to make the best movie that I can possibly make. And that's it. That end of story. I'll do whatever it takes to do it. I think that if you go into it with that attitude and then sort of learn everything after that of like, I created value for myself, I learned how to do it. I think that that's sort of the best outcome that you could ask for.
Now, how much of a safety net did you kind of have, like, underneath of you while making Tethered? Like, was it a make or break? Like, if this does not go anything less than, like, well, then, like, everything else that I have going forward as a movie director, everything's just going to crash down.
I didn't even think about that, honestly. You know, like, it was literally just, I'm making this movie, and there's nothing, like, there's no plan B. There's nothing that I have to fall back on. There is no safety net. Like, either make this movie or what else am I? I don't know how to do anything else. Like, if I wasn't doing this, I don't know what I'd be doing. You know.
You don't need a safety net if you're not going to fall.
Well, it's like if you're okay with falling, then you don't need a safety net. Like if you're okay with failure and it's just like, I failed on this, I learned from it, and now I'm gonna go make another one, and you know, rinse and repeat. Like, you know, how else am I gonna learn how to do it? I'm not gonna, like, thinking back about it, it's like making your first movie at 18 years old and expecting it to be great is delusional. It's like completely insane. But like if you don't go in with that thought process, you're gonna quit halfway through. You know, like you're gonna see all the chinks in the armor and you're gonna quit. But if you go in it of like, this is gonna be great, and you know, I'm gonna finish it, and I'm gonna make another movie after this. So like, how could I fail? You know, like I'm willing to live in my car to make movies. You know, like how much further down could I go? You know what I mean? Like there's no rock bottom. Like it just keep making movies. That's the only plan. It's just keep going.
And that's why I brag about you.
Because you live in your car.
To make Oscar award-winning films.
We'll see. Now,
how, like, you classify Tethered as a success, right? Like, what marks did it hit for you that classify as a success? Was it just literally the fact of completing it was a success in itself, and everything else after that was just kind of a bonus?
Yeah, I think first of all was finishing it. Second was the cast and crew's reaction to it, of just, they're always talking about how great of an experience it was, and always talking so kindly about me, whether it's well-deserved or not. Just like everything about making that movie was so rewarding, and taught me so much, that I take it so much as a success in its own right in that way. And then third, I used it as a calling card, and that's kind of, what the secondary use of it was being able to show producers that, like, hey, like I'm in this game for the next 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. Like, this is all that I'm going to be doing. I'm not the guy who you're going to bring on, and then, in a little while he's going to get tired of this and go do something else. Like, this is all I'm going to do. This is like what I was put on earth to do, I think. So beyond that, it's just like, I don't even look at things as like a success or a failure anymore. I just look at it as like, make the next thing and finish the next thing and put it out and then go on to the next one. Because if you, and I'm talking like a big game right now. I always get in my head about like, oh man, this sucks. Like, the script sucks. Like, and then the next day I'll be like, this is the best script ever written. And then the next day it's like, oh my God, why am I even doing this? Like, that's a daily thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, like you said, like, I have no safety net. Like, this is all I'm doing. So I think that like even if I die trying to make this thing come through, I think it's a form of success in its own right.
Wow. That's pretty inspirational.
But I mean, it's like a very extreme way to look at life for sure. But I think I definitely try and live my life as if I was in a movie. Like, I definitely think, what is the most, like, if an audience of 100 people were watching this right now, like, what would they want to see happen next? Like, what's the most interesting thing to do next? And try and like live as if it was a story. You know what I mean?
Now, if this was a movie, and in your movie of your life, right, you felt that this podcast was so important, it had to be in the climax of the movie. All right. Who would you cast as Cody?
Oh my gosh.
Who would you want to who would you guys want to be cast in your life to play you?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
I think. Okay.
You knew that way too quickly.
Because everybody always like, hey, you look like Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm like, no, I don't. And then after I finally like watched more Jake Gyllenhaal's work, like Nightcrawler and Prisoners, which I love both of those films, I'm like, okay, maybe so. So I just stick with it.
Nightcrawler is insane.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of redheaded actors. He's kind of redhead. Right now, in this current moment, I'm gonna say whoever the guy is that plays Jamie in Outlander. I don't know if you've seen that show.
I haven't seen that show.
Yeah. Well, anyone who has will know like he's a stud. So I'll be happy to have him.
They're all on board. Everyone who knows that movie, they're all on board.
They're all freaking out right now. Oh my gosh, AJ, that's you. They're freaking out right now. Now, what about Chris?
I would pick Shia LaBeouf, 100%.
Interesting. Why is that?
I like how polarizing he is.
He's very polarizing.
Yeah, I like how a lot of people hate him and a lot of people love him, and there's not a whole lot of people who are just like, eh. Like I think it's polarizing, and yeah, I mean, I think he's a great actor, and his story of how he came up is really interesting too. So
I just watched a movie about that actually. What's it called? Something Boy.
Honey Boy.
Honey Boy. I just watched that actually. It was nuts.
So good.
Absolutely nuts.
Loved it.
I haven't seen that, but just from like my knowledge of him, I would say like he is either like a genius artist mastermind or crazy.
Both.
Like there's one or the other.
Yeah, he's a damaged artist, I think.
Yeah.
And an extremely passionate damaged artist. Yeah, I love him.
Interesting.
So if there's any actor, they don't have to be living either. If there's any actor or actress that you've always dreamt of working with that you could cast in a movie, have you? I don't know if you ever thought about that, but who would you pick?
Oh man, I thought about that a lot, but I think probably like Robin Williams or something. Like someone who I think I would really enjoy to be around.
This broke my heart.
And would just like, and I think he would just like make my life better. Like I feel like I would meet him, and then my life would be better from there on out. Yeah.
Damn,
I think
I don't think I can top that. That's.
I think that's a pretty good pick.
Yeah.
I really like Donald Glover though.
See, the things that stick out with Donald Glover is that I've seen obviously was Solo because he played Lando Calrissian, and I've seen at least 2 more films with it. What's another one? Name them. I'm drawing a brain cramp.
Have you seen Atlanta? TV show?
That's a TV show. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Bro.
I've seen clips from it.
One of the greatest shows of all time.
Really?
Yes. Highly underrated.
That's a bold claim you got. So I guess I'm gonna have to peep it now.
What's it on? Is it on anything? Is it on just TV or?
It's on Hulu.
Hulu? Oh, sweet. I have that.
Atlanta.
Watch it. It's good.
Watch it. It's good. Chris, do you have anything? Is there anything you've been just dying to ask or want to know or just anything at all?
Is there anything that I want to ask? Because
I know you're a busy guy. We don't get to chat a lot, and I know like the last time we saw each other, we were just catching up about literally everything. Like when we went to Duncan, and we were all like talking.
What are you guys up to? What are you guys up to these days? What's making you feel good? What's making you feel bad?
DJ, go ahead first.
Gym's opened up. That's making me feel good for sure.
You
Twitter.
guys meet in college?
Say what?
You guys meet in college?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What'd you say?
Did you guys meet in college?
Yeah. We met. We played soccer together in college, and we. I would say we really became close friends like sophomore year.
Yeah, it was at the end of freshman year and sophomore year.
Yeah. And then we became gym buddies and bench buddies and all that in soccer.
Yep, our coach
Awesome.
somehow equally hated us at some point and just like, We just picked the same spot on the bench.
I don't,
Alright, let's
I don't know if he hated us. I just think he knew how much we loved the bench. So like he just gave us what we loved.
Well,
Sad,
that's
man.
in
That's
many ways the bench on the sidelines and bench pressing. So
Yeah, exactly.
Were you guys good at soccer? I remember Cody was really good in middle school.
thank you.
Anyone
Were
who's
you guys good?
is obviously a professional.
Duh.
Right.
Tristan Westfall logic. You're welcome.
Got it.
But yeah, he's one of our buddies. That's a kind of an inside joke. But yeah, I mean, I don't really. I'll speak for DJ because I don't like to toot my own horn. But no, I remember seeing DJ come in. It's like this short, quick, stocky little dude with a heck of a left foot. And like me, I can name you all 3 players that I ever played with that shot with their left foot. Like it's very uncommon. I feel like you have more left-handed pitchers in baseball and left-handed shooters in basketball than you ever would a left-footed dominant soccer player. So I mean, DJ, he was like that quick utility guy. So that's what really stuck out to me. I mean, I felt like he was always top notch.
If I think of like if you ask me like what's your first memory that comes to you from like playing college soccer, one of the top ones would probably be like at practice when I played that one ball to you, Cody, like when you headed it in. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
I do, and
yeah.
and I think Coach even ended practice on it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
like
so that's where I think I'm at in skill. My top one during practice.
That sounds pretty good. I was never really into sports. Like I would play, with my friends sometimes, but not really. I can never really get into sports. Even watching it, I can never really get into it. I'm sure we don't have that in common whatsoever.
Now, I know you mentioned, making little home videos really young. Like, how young would you say you were when like movies was your life?
I think movies probably didn't become my life probably until right before or during while I was shooting Tethered.
Okay.
I think like when I made it,
but you knew you wanted to make movies much earlier before that.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I've always loved telling stories. And I think probably when I started high school, maybe that's when it got more serious. That's around the time I was making short films. And I was just never good in school. Like I couldn't focus. I didn't care about anything that they were teaching ever. I didn't really ever get good grades. I barely went to school, especially during high school. So I think it came down to like this that I really, really, really like to do. So, when you find something you really like to do, you just do it a lot. Like a lot of people, it's a chore for them to go and make a movie or to finish a script or something. And for me, it just was never like that. It was just like, this is what I want to be doing right now. So, when there's all these people who want to write movies or something like that and have never written a movie, it's like, how do you know? How do you even know you want to do it? And it shouldn't be a chore every time you try and do it. I think like I get really excited about movies. I'm sure as you see while I'm talking about Wally, like I get really excited about storytelling. So it just kind of it's eventually just come naturally to me where everything that I do in life, I'm looking at stories, or I'm trying to find stories, or I'm thinking of stories. So I don't know, you just keep kind of doing it. I don't even remember what you asked. I don't know if I answered the question.
No, you answered it and went further.
Okay, good. That's what I'm good for.
Well, Chris, I don't know how much longer you have, or if we've even bored you to tears, but regardless, I can't thank you enough for being a guest on the show. It means a lot. We don't talk enough. We're both busy guys in our own ways, and I want to do more to hang out, talk, catch up more of these days. But regardless, I do appreciate you on behalf of the CD Logic cast that just for coming on the show and being part of it.
Dude, of course. Thanks for having me. Like I said, I'm a big fan of what you guys are doing, so
Yeah, we
happy to come on anytime.
need to get bigger clout, so when you make it big, you can come here first and talk about your new movie.
Yes, guaranteed I'll come here first.
Maybe we'll wait. Maybe we'll even make like our very own honest trailer for Tethered.
Perfect.
Dude, I like that. I like that a lot.
Awesome.
Go easy on me, though. Go easy on me.
Of course.
Nope.
It may be 98th, so.
Fair.
But in closing, Chris, do you have any suggestions for us moving forward as a whole? I guess mainly YouTube related or traveling techers related, podcast related, or just in general. Do you have anything for us that you just want to leave with us or for anyone else that may be listening?
I like it when you guys talk about movies, and I like it when I like it when you get passionate about what you're watching, and I like it when I can interact with the podcast as well. I like being able to send in my list or my opinion or defend a movie. Like, I like that. So keep doing that.
Awesome. Love the feedback. Love the feedback. Means a ton. And what if I may or may not still want to keep my word and do a funky food review with you? Remember when you came out last time and those Sour Patch Kids cereal like dropped like a day before? We still need to do something like that, both with an exotic food. And please, one of these days, Jack is going to feature on the channel.
For sure. If you come to in August and I'm here, we'll definitely do one with Jack. It'd be dope.
Yes, awesome. I will be more than happy.
Sweet, man. Just cancel on your Florida stuff. Don't worry about, or cancel on your Hawaii stuff. Don't worry about that.
Done. I probably won't be able to get there anyway. We'll probably all be sick or dead or something. So yeah, I'm down.
At this point, it looks like World War Z is the only thing that can happen next. So.
We'll see what happens next month, right?
Indeed. Well, CD Logic Podcast Show signing off.
Bye.